Alright, mishmash of a week this week. Bit of mucking around outside. Try start getting ready to put together a new workshop. It's probably going to be a slow process as we get bits and pieces done. Tinkering around with the Skyline again. A few issues with the front suspension that we've now sorted. And we've got a phone call from Ample to head over and give him a hand on Micks VK, the one we saw in the last video. So stick around. I might try and start chucking some chapters in these so we can see where we're at, and you guys can skip ahead of the boring digging holes and workshop stuff if you don't want to see it. And hopefully yeah, everyone's enjoying. So cheers guys, have a good one. Good on everyone. Welcome back to another week. This week I'm not entirely sure what we're going to get up to. Plan was that the dry sump was meant to be turning up, so my hope was we were going to try and push Jimmy's car out, turn my car around so we could get ready to pull the engine out and start hooking into getting the dry sump done. So I hadn't really planned a whole lot with Jimmy's car. Hadn't really planned a whole lot with anything else, and unfortunately the dry sump is still coming. Anyway, that's life, race cars. So this week might be a bit of a shambles, but what I've actually decided is we might start working on the workshop. So we've got a fair bit of our kind of big steel ready to go for our portal frames. Next trick's going to be, there we go in the sun. Next trick's just getting everything concreted in for all the cages. So we started digging some of the holes nice and deep. So we've got the 3 holes drilled. They're not quite big enough just with the little auger that I've got, but from there we're just going to chase them up, make them a bit wider with the shovel. And I might even just try and get that done this week if I can get these 3 cages concreted in. That means then I can probably next break maybe look at getting the next 3 cages concreted in. So if you're not a fan of doing stuff around the house, then it's probably going to be a bit of a boring one for you. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot planned on the cars, unfortunately. Got a mate's car coming in for a service on Tuesday or Wednesday. That's not going to be overly interesting, but other than that, we're just giving the whole place a bit of a tidy up. It was all looking a bit of a shambles in here before. So Jimmy's car's coming along all right. We had him in last week, got the seat in, so got him fitted up, made sure he was happy with shifter position, steering position, all that was pretty good, so he was pretty stoked. But yeah, I need to take it down. I don't have any room in here to try and get the MIG out and MIG weld and make up all the little brackets and everything that I need to mount all the seat and fuel cell. So I had to take it down to my mate's workshop and we'll do some work on it down there. But like I said, I didn't think I'd be doing that this week. I thought I'd be working on mine. So anyway, that's life. What we'll do, I might chuck you on a time lapse, just start digging out these holes and clearing things up, and hopefully we might start getting some concrete mix. That'll be kind of cool. So roll with it. Bye. I've been doing, I've just dug out this next hole, just make it a bit wider, and I'll put the pipe there, I should know, but I managed to hit the drain pipe. Beautiful, nailed it. Anyway, sort that out. Just got that one in there temporarily just to get measurements and just check how we're going. But this one here is kind of set up how I'll probably do it. So we've got a datum line over on that post there, so that's what I did a laser from the house. Just that's the height of the concrete pad. So that there, I've wanted these up a bit higher than the concrete pad, so I think it's about 100 mil. So leveled all that, got that level left to right with the nuts and the steel there. It's nice and easy, you can kind of adjust it pretty simply, shim it, get it right. This one here, I've just got it, it's only sitting on some little timbers at the moment, but that's roughly in place. So I had to just open the hole out a little bit further back towards us, just to make it all fit nicely and get plenty of concrete all around it. So I reckon I'm going to wait for the old man to get here. He's done a bit more of the concreting in of cages than I have. I've helped him put a few sheds up, but this part, if you don't get it right, it can stuff the rest up. So I'm actually thinking I might, well, I got a bit of time, no one's here, I can make a bit of noise, I might actually hook into the skyline. Last week I was saying that I've got to do some grinding on this J-arm to clearance it on the control arm and that, so figure no one in the house, I can make a bit of noise. I'll probably just try and set up so I'm just sending sparks into the wheel arch, so I don't have to worry about covering everything up. But yeah, might do that. Dad's meant to be coming up today, so that'll be handy. He's got some bits and pieces to pick up for his car, so that'll be good. That was a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. So I've just kind of clearanced this in here, didn't actually need to take off a whole lot, and now we're at full bump travel. It actually does, the control arm gets up into here a little bit, but at this height here we normally end up starting to scuff up here, so that's the most of the tyres ever going to see it's up travel. What I'm going to do now is I'll take the shock, mount the shock so the current shock's not mounted up. We'll take the shock, we'll adjust the lower part of the shock to get the right bump position. So some people seem to adjust the ride height with the lower portion of the shock. It's technically not right. Normally you adjust the lower part of the shock for the body, that'll set you a complete bump. So if you start trying to lower the car off that, you will lower the car, definitely. But what it means is that you'll actually start getting into guards or the fender lining before you're actually into the bump stop of the shock. So I like to set all the shock bump stops that spring on, and then we set the spring heights and the ride height by that guy there. So that's the way MCA have told me to do it, so that's the way we do it. Alright, so we've adjusted the body, so full drooped out without the limit strap on, but with the shock sensor on. It's all looking pretty good. What we'll do is we'll jack it up and you'll be able to see everything coming up. That ride height sensor's coming up nicely because it's quite close to the pivot point. We are getting a decent range of motion out of it. Just getting into the bump stop now. And there you go. So we're into the bump stop basically as everything else is starting to hit on the chassis. So I'm pretty happy with that. The next thing is just going to be checking with the larger tyre diameter whether it is going to be limiting on our suspension travel or whether the tyre getting into the guard is going to be the limiting factor. So we'll chuck a wheel on now and double check that. Everything just seems to be a process of check and recheck and try something different. So we're getting there. The other side should be nice and easy once we're done here. Alright, I reckon that there is near on perfect. I've just done a bit of a line on the tyre there. It'd be on the guard. We're just going to take that material out, see if we can just get that extra kind of 10mm. But we're just into the guard there on the tyre. And I don't know, you guys probably won't be able to see, but absolutely everything else is at the same point. We're pretty much, let's see if I can get in there. We're into the bump stop. The upper control arms getting into the frame like it was before, so I'm happy with that. I think there's a couple of little things that we could change down the track if we wanted to. I think we could take a little bit out of those spaces that we initially put to lift the J-arm up. I think we could take maybe 5mm out of there, and if we cut along that orange line that I just drew and clearance the bit there, we could maybe get another 10 or so mil of up travel. So we've got the line there, the frame rail sits here, so if we were to take that out, we get a bit more up travel, bring that J-arm a little bit closer to the wheel, means that we won't get the control arms binding as early. So a few of those things, don't know, we'll see if I decide to do it sooner rather than later. We're still waiting on the dry sump, we're still waiting on a new fuel cell, so those are little jobs that we can do that aren't going to cost us much money, it's just time, so who knows, might do them. Anyway, might just pack up all the tools. Maybe we look at doing some wiring. I've got to do the wiring for these ride height sensors, maybe we get into that today. See how we feel. Going on everyone. I should really rename this to the procrastination garage. Anytime there's wiring, I seem to try and put it off, but hey. So yesterday we got a phone call from Dougie. Bit more work to do on Mick's car that he's kind of asked us to come have a look at. So we've got the VK back up in the air. This time we're doing some rear wheel speed sensors. So we've just got one installed. These knuckles had a nice handy little hole in them that we were able to drill out and tap and make it all work. So done one side, now we'll just crack on with the other. We'll get this wheel off, do a bit of a time lapse. You can see down there, I don't know if you guys can see it, but little hole worked out beautifully, that similar to my car, it picks up on the back of the wheel studs. So we know that we'll have 5 pulses per rotation, so really easy to work out off the tyre sizes for wheel speed and that, so works quite nicely. But probably didn't see it in the last video, but yeah, the front clamshell comes off, but Mick's also done a rear, so nice fiberglass comes off, everything's nice and easy to adjust. Nice set of Olin's TDXs on it. I'd love to get some of them one day, but there we go. Anyway, we'll crack on. Car's great. One issue you have with aluminium is aluminium on aluminium can gall up, and when it does, you end up destroying stuff. Unfortunately, it looks like the end of this, because we're threading in so far into this knuckle, the end of this wheel speed sensor's just galled up a little bit on something in the thread. And to remove it, you just end up breaking these. They're just so thin, when you start trying to pull them out, if they get stuck, they fall apart. So you can see the end of that there. It's caught up on something, it went in fine, but then it won't let it come back out. $100 sensor in the bin. Anyway, yay, chase the thread out. Oh, okay. Alright, so after killing one sensor, and getting the other sensor nearly through but not happy about life, we've actually changed to a stainless sensor the Raceworks do. So being that it's in the alloy hub, the stainless just seems to be working a heap better, so we'll go over and change the other side, but we'll get this one all the way through and should be good. Now, rear sensor's done. Leave the wiring for Doug, that feels like a Dougie problem. All the sensors in, just got it coiled up here, but they work quite nicely. They'll pick up on each wheel stud, so we'll get that 5 pulses per revolution. Now we'll just start, take the front nose cone off and we'll get the front opening. It's almost like Corvette knew what we were planning on doing. So, try and get out of the sun, but that's a 11mm drill bit. That slides in to this little hole quite nicely. And in the back there, once again, same as the other side, it lines up perfectly with a wheel stud. I don't even think I'm going to need to pull much apart to get this one done. Full lock. Nice access, beautiful. There are 3 down, 1 to go. Read out quite nicely, nice little hole back there, straight in. Beautiful, if you guys can see it. Comes up nice and close. Nice. So I am super clever. And that last time lapse, I just took a photo. Good job. Anyway, we're done. Last wheel speed sensor in. Set nice on the studs. Dougie can wire that up. We'll get the brakes back on. And I reckon that'll be home for today. I think next week we might end up coming down. I think we might be giving this a wheel alignment, corner weighting. So that'll probably be something I'll show you guys. There's a bit to corner weighting. You got to take stuff apart. Bit of a process to it. So I've got kind of a little check sheet of how I do it. So I might share that with you guys. Anyway, we'll see what we get up to tomorrow, but I reckon that's today done. Cheers. Alright, Micks car's all dialed, back home today. Had Dad come up, have a bit of a look. He reckons we're on the right track with all these holes, so I think they're going to sit there for the week. I'll heading back up for work again, so anyway, that's done. Means we can get a good start on it next block when I'm back home. 34's coming along, pretty happy that we managed to get that suspension kind of sorted. That was bugging me, so back on track again. Yeah, I don't know, a bit of an odd video this one, but hey, cheers for sticking with us. Anyway, I'll see you again in a fortnight.